everyone! It's a beautiful day to learn. In this channel, you will be learning about machine shorthand. So, if you're interested, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell button for notifications. Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being with me again. So, I was not able to upload a video last week, a discussion last week because I was very busy, but now we are here again. Okay, so let's start, or let's continue with lessons 31 to 35 in this video. Oh, by the way, before we discuss lesson 31 to 35, I would like to again reiterate that I am using a stenograph theory for court reporting as a reference book. As of the moment, I am also learning about StenEd real-time theory. So this is the reference book that we are using right now with the CSE Luminex Steno Writer. Okay, so this is there are um, somehow differences on the strokes because for standard real-time theory it's conflict free. So if this reference book, the stenograph theory for court reporting, there are tendencies wherein a word has a stroke has one or two words attached to it. For standard real-time theory, uh, there will be no tendencies for that since they made really another stroke for a certain word despite they have the same um, sound. Okay, so that's the beauty of standard real-time theory. It's conflict-free. Later on, I will also be sharing what I have learned from the standard real-time theory in this channel. After I will be able to finish all the lessons for this reference book that I am using right now. Okay? So lesson 31 to 35, we will be learning about initial D and final SH, initial Y, initial QU, initial CH and final CH, as well as initial V and final J. Okay, let's start. So we have here lesson 31, that's initial D and final SH. Okay, using your left hand, you write TK for initial D with the ring finger in home position. Again, so for initial D, we will use our ring finger that's between initial T and K. So we will be putting our left ring finger on the crack. Okay, so that will be initial D. So for final SH also, it is represented by final RB. So using your right hand, you write final RB for the sound of final SH with the index and middle fingers on the lower bank. So final R is your right index finger and final B is your right middle finger. So you press them simultaneously. Final RB, that is final SH. So let's take a look at the words here on the screen. This is for lesson 31, applying what we have learned. So on the left side, we can see the English words as well as the corresponding outline. And then on the right side, we can see the stenograph notes. So there you have it. We have the words do, doll, day, dad, dinner, ash, cash, rush, wish, and then we also have fish. So if you'd like to take a longer look and study how these words are written, you can click the pause button for that. So it's very important that we are familiar with how these words are written, especially for final SH, that it is being represented by final RB. So it's a little bit like it's not really related. Same with initial D, that's initial TK. So we have to be mindful of that when we read notes. And we also have here briefs and phrases. We have did, that is represented only by initial D. December, this is another month. Initial D, long E, and final S. Then we have shall, so it is represented by final SH. Usual, that is represented by long U, final SH. And we have unusual, initial N, long U, final SH. Did he, initial D, vowel E. Did you, initial D, vowel U. Did I, initial D, vowel I. Do you, initial D, vowel O, and then vowel U. I shall, vowel I, and final SH. So let's take a look on the right side. That is how these briefs and phrases are written in the machine. Okay, so let's have an example sentence here. So the sentence is, did you tell us you met your son at 2 question mark. So that is how this sentence is written or to be written using the machine. So this is the notes, the stenographic notes below the sentence. Did you tell us you met your son at 2? So question mark. Okay, if you'd like to take a better look and then study on how these words or this sentence is written, then you may click the pause button for that. Okay, let's have another sentence. Okay, this one. So let's try to look at the notes and not read the sentence yet. So let's try to figure out if we are able to answer this without reading the sentence above. So we read this as your business is unusual, period. So remember that business is a brief and same with unusual. So that's initial N, long U, final SH. Okay, let's try another sentence. So at this point, I would like you to read this sentence. You guess, how should we read this? How do we read this sentence? Okay, in three, two, one, let's reveal the answer. Okay, so this is how we read this. Can he consider 34? And then we have a question mark. Can he is a phrase, consider is a brief, and then we have a number here. Okay, so I believe that you were able to get the correct answer. So that's it for lesson 31. So let's move on to the next lesson, and that is lesson 32. For the next lesson, we have initial Y or the consonant Y. Okay, using your left hand, you write consonant Y with the ring, middle, and index fingers on the lower bank. Again, to write initial Y or the consonant Y, we use our left ring, middle, and index fingers. So that's initials KWR. Okay, that will be initial Y. We press them simultaneously, then that's initial Y. Okay, so another that we are going to learn in lesson 32 is diphthong ow. Okay, ow, the sound of ow. Right? Ow or OU for the diphthongs ow. For example, rather, we have how. So we write initial H, vowel O and U for the diphthong ow. Now, initial N, diphthong ow. House, initial H, diphthong ow, final S. And then we also have doubt, initial D, diphthong ow, final T. So again, remember that we write by sound. So despite of the fact that the spelling of doubt there is B, despite that there is a letter B for the spelling of doubt, then still we will write by sound. So we will disregard the letter B and have initial D, diphthong ow and final T. Okay, let's move on to the words. These words are application of what we have learned in lesson 32. So we have our, out, how, now, loud, town, yet, year, and then yawn. So on the right side, we can see its stenographic notes, how these English words are written. Okay, so if you want to take again a longer look, a better look of how these words are written, then you may take or you may click the pause button for that. Okay, so let's proceed to briefs. Okay, here we can see briefs for lesson 32. On the left side, the English words, and on the right side, the stenographic notes or the stenograph notes. We have Y, that is represented by initial Y. Yes, represented by initial Y, vowel E. And then yesterday, initial Y, vowel E, final D. August, another month, uh, that is diphthong O, for the sound of O, and then final G. Then we have difficult, initial D, vowel I, final F, and then happen, initial H, vowel A, final P. So these are the outlines. And then on the right side, the stenograph notes exactly how these words are written. Okay, let's proceed to the sentence. Okay, we have here the first sentence. Why did you yell at Faye? So again, applying the Y, that's initial Y or the initials KWR. Did you, that's a phrase. Then we have yell and then at and then Faye. So this is a name. So we have to capital the first letter of the word. Okay, capitalize the first letter of the word, and then we have a question mark. Okay, so let's proceed to the next sentence. For the next sentence, okay, you try this one. How are you going to read this? Okay, I'm giving you 3 seconds before I reveal the answer. So again, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's check if you got the correct answer. So this is the answer. Did you happen to be at our open house in August? Okay, if you want to take a closer look, a better look on how the words are written, then you can again click the pause button for that. So remember that this sentence comprises briefs as well as phrases. That's it for lesson 32. Let's proceed to lesson 33. That's initial QU. Okay, using your left hand, you write initials KW for QU with the ring and middle fingers on the lower bank. QU at the beginning of a word usually has the sound of KW. For example, we have quit. So we write that as initials KW, vowel I, final T. We also have there coat, queer, and so we think of the sound, not the spelling. Okay? So again, we think of the sound, not the spelling. So for words with sounding like Q, something like that. So that's initials KW or QU. Okay? Here, let's proceed to the words. For lesson 33, we have quit, quick, quart, coat, queer, choir, belt, built, quilt, turn, and then learn. Let's try to look at the stenograph notes on the right side. That is how the words on the left side are written. Okay, you may Again, click the pause button if you want to take a closer look and study on how these words are written. And we also have briefs for lesson 33. So applying what we have learned, we have request, that's initial KW or initial QU. Then we have question, initial KW, vowel E, follow, initial F, vowel O, final L, apartment, initial A, and then final PT. Hospital, we have initial H, vowel O, final PT. And then we have another month, September. That's initial S, vowel E, and final PT. Okay? So again, it's very important that we remember these briefs because it helps us to be fast when taking dictation. And with that, we we are able to cope up with the dictation as well as um, uh, being accurate. Okay, so speed and accuracy is really important when we want to be a machine stenographer or court stenographer. Okay, or even transcriptionist, any work that we can use the machine or the steno writer. Okay, we have another sentence. Did you inquire at the company? So this is how we write this sentence. Again, did you is a phrase. Then we have inquire at the company. Company is a brief. So that's initial K and final P. And then we have the question mark. Okay, another sentence. Yes, comma, I did follow the car. So we have yes applying the brief or the arbitrary, then comma, then I, and then did. It's another brief. Follow brief the car. Period. Okay, so you may again hit the pause button if you wanted to take a closer look and study how this sentence is written. Okay, so how about this one? We don't have a stenograph notes for this. We only have a sentence. How are we going to write this? So we have, I do not remember the question. So this is composed of um, briefs. Okay, there are briefs here and also words. So in 3, 2, 1, 0, let's reveal the answer. Let's check if you got the correct answer. There you have it. This is how you write the sentence. I do not remember. That's initial R, vowel E, final R. So that is in arbitrary or brief, right? Then question, initial KW, and then vowel E. So that's another brief. And that's it for lesson 33. Let's proceed to lesson 34. We have initial CH and final CH. So for initial CH, using your left hand, we write initial K and H for the sound of initial CH with the ring and index fingers. So again, initial CH is represented by initial KH, and we are going to use our ring and then index fingers, left ring and index fingers. So we have an example there for the word like for the word chat, for the word chart, and for the word chum. So that's the sound of CH is represented by initial K and H. Okay, another is final CH. So using your right hand, you write final FP for the sound of final CH with the index and middle fingers on the upper bank. Okay, we have an example. The words like such, touch, and then patch. So CH again is represented by final FP. So you will be using your right index and middle fingers. Okay, so let's not be confused with this. Let's put this in mind that final FP is final CH, and initial CH is initials K and H. Okay, let's take a look at the words on the next slide. So we have here the words such, ouch, watch, rich, catcher, chat, chess, chum, chap, chart, and then chair, chap rather. So again, on the right side, we can see how these words are written. So for better look at the words, for longer look at the words, you may again click the pause button for that. Okay? So you study how these words are written. Okay, let's proceed to briefs and phrases or arbitraries and phrases. We have much. Much is represented by final CH or the final FP. Then we have purchase, initial PR, final CH. We have familiar, initial F, vowel A, final M. Then figure, initial F, vowel I, final G. We also have inform, initial N, final F. Sudden, initial S, vowel U, final D. How much, initial H, diphthong ow, final CH. So much, initial S, long O, final CH. We have how many, initial H, diphthong ow, final M. So many, initial S, rather, long O, and then final M. Okay, so again, briefs and phrases are important because it um, it makes our work faster. Okay, it speeds up our writing so we can cope up with the dictation. Okay, let's proceed to the sentence for lesson 34. We have here, there was a sudden noise, period. That is how we are going to write that. So we have there and then was, sudden, applying the brief that we have learned, and then noise, period. Okay, let's have another sentence. So this one we have, how much oil will you purchase? Question mark. So here, how much? We use the brief. We will use the brief. That's how much. And then oil. Then will you? Another phrase. It's a phrase, and then purchase. It's a brief form or arbitrary. Okay. So again, for sentences, briefs and phrases makes our work faster because it will help us cope up with the dictation, so we are able to achieve the speed. Okay, and at the same time, we will be also achieving accuracy. This is again very important for a court stenographer, speed and accuracy. Okay. Okay, how about this one? This sentence? How are we going to read this? So I'm giving you 3 seconds to read this, to answer this. 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, let's reveal the answer. Let's check if you were able to get the correct answer. You are able to get the correct answer. So this is the correct answer. You ought to sign it by September 29. Okay? Did you get the correct answer? I hope so. Or I know you will, or you got the correct answer. Okay? So that's it for lesson 34. Oh, we're almost done. Let's proceed to lesson 35. This will be our last lesson for this video. Okay, for lesson 35, we have initial V and final J. Using your left hand, write initial S and R for initial V with the little and index fingers. Again, initial V is represented by initials S and R. So we are going to use our left little and rather index. Again, we are going to use our left little and index finger for initial V. We are going to write or to Yes, to write the letters S and R for initial V. For final J, using our right hand, we write finals PBLG for the sound of final J. So we will be using our right middle and ring fingers. Okay, so for final PB, we will use our right middle finger. So we put our right middle finger on the crack that's between final P and B. And then for our ring finger, we will put our ring finger on the crack between final L and G. So we press them simultaneously, and that makes final J. So for example, we have the word cage, that's initial K, long A, and then final J. So final J is final PBLG. So same with judge. Okay, so that's it. Let's take a look at these words. Application of what we have learned in the previous slide. So we have the words van, vote, void, view, vague, edge, judge, age, lodge, ridge, page. So this is how these words are written. On the right side, we can see the stenograph notes. Again, if you want to take a closer look or longer look and study how these words are written, you can click the pause button for that. Okay, so on the next slide, we will see the briefs and phrases. So here they are. We have, very, develop, knowledge, imagine, very much, have you, have I, have been, had been. So I really find these briefs and phrases helpful because they make our work faster. They were them It saves us time in writing the strokes. So with that, we can cope up with the dictation, as I have said earlier. Okay, so you can click the pause button to study how these briefs and phrases are written. We have here an example sentence for lesson 35. Business is very much better. Okay, so we are using, in the stenograph notes, notice that we are using the brief for business. We have also phrase for very much. Okay. Then we have another sentence. Let's take a look at the next slide. Okay, we have here the judge is very difficult, period. Okay, we are applying again the brief for very as well as for difficult. See, it makes our work fast. Our It saves us time in typing the strokes. Okay, let's proceed to the next slide. We have another sentence. Okay, so we have a sentence here. You should develop your voice. Um, how are we going to write this? Okay, so you try to write there. How are you going to write this sentence? You should develop your voice. Okay, let's reveal the answer in 3, 2, 1, 0. There you have it. So you should develop, you are using here a brief, right? Then your voice. So remember that initial SR is initial V, Our initial V is represented by initials S and R. Okay. So that's it for lessons 35, and we are done with lessons 31 to 35. So I'm happy that you are with me. I'm happy that you keep on learning, you keep on watching, you enjoy learning. That's very important. At this point, we will answer the question from the previous video. That's lesson 26 to 30. Okay, so let's reveal the names for those rather who got the correct answers, and those learners will get a chance to win 30 pesos worth of load after we use the wheel of names. So it's gonna be a uh, raffle. Okay. So this is the posted question last video, last lesson that we had. And the correct answer is the summer was hot, but the winter was cold, period. Okay, that is how we read that stenograph notes posted last video that I had. Okay, so again, the summer was hot, but the winter was cold. Okay, be mindful with the word but here, because but is represented by initial B and vowel U only. But if we have the word the, this becomes a phrase, and but the stroke is initial B, vowel U, and final T. Okay, so let's see who got the correct answers. We have Presi Sanchez, Lilian May Achivida, Rayan Sevillo, Mayflower Cubos, Alisa Jem Borja. So it's great that we have new learners here. Dara Rose Logronio rather, sorry. Mary Grace Alolino, Maris Palado, Ayasa Joy Tahale, Ella Marie Pujadas, Rovelyn Amog, Chini Galolo, Mary Jane Luna, Joyce Magdayo, Riza May Obil, Charmaine Agosto, Maribeth De La Cruz, James Kenneth Ongyot, Georgie Belyeza, Rosemary Ramada, Kiza Salingay, Ana Kabayag, Charish Pabe, Joycey Kadungog, Marjorie Villamora, and we have Eunice Escatron. Okay, let's start in 3, 2, 1, 0. Congratulations, Presi Sanchez. It's good to have you with us. So again, Presi, you may claim your prize at machineshorthand2021@gmail.com. Again, congratulations, Presi. And here is our question for this video. So how are we going to read this? Okay, you may click the pause button to be able to read that properly. Okay, this is the first question, by the way, because we have a second one. So there are going to be two winners. The next is, so this one is the second question. How are you going to write this? So how to write this? Can you accompany us as usual? Okay, so good luck and God bless, learners. See you next video. Keep on learning, keep on watching. Enjoy. Bye.